Hello and welcome to Eye on Africa with news from across the continent. I'm Clarisse Fortuné. Coming up on the show. Pope Leo tells a young crowd in Douala during a mass that two of the big problems facing the continent are the corruption that keeps countries in poverty and the brain drain of their brightest children who live rather than fight the corruption at home. It's now more than 48 hours since Million Beyene disappeared without a trace. The Committee to Protect Journalists calls on Ethiopian authorities to do everything in their power to locate and free the Addis Standard managing the editor who was taken by unidentified men from his newsroom on Wednesday morning. And literature takes center stage in the French capital as Paris hosts the 5th edition of its book festival, bringing together publishing heavyweights, star authors, and eager readers. Among the standout voices, Cameroonian writer Djaïli Amadou Amal She gave us a message to pass on young women. Day 5 in Africa for Pope Leo XIV. In the midst of a pause in the ongoing violence in Cameroon, the Pope headed to Douala after the city of Bamenda to celebrate a Mass. At Chapoma Stadium, he urged young people to resist the temptation of corruption, reject violence, and to instead strive to work for the common good. Recap of the day with Clémence Valère.
For these Catholics, the opportunity to meet the leader of their faith was worth camping out for. Over 120,000 people made their way to Douala's Chapoma Stadium on Friday for a chance to participate in the Holy See's Mass.
I wanted to offer this effort to the Pope, to show him that what he is doing and what he wants to accomplish should truly come to life.
I'm very happy that the Pope came here. It's a great privilege that I too get to see the Pope in my lifetime. But I would like him to do just one thing, to unite all Cameroonians.
Billed as the largest event of his 10-day African tour, Pope Leo XIV addressed the cheering crowd in both French and in English, urging Cameroonian youth to avoid violence and to turn towards the spirit of brotherhood.
Be the first faces and hands that bring the bread of life to your neighbors. Reject every form of abuse or violence which deceives by promising easy gains, but hardens the heart and makes it insensitive.
Despite having the world's oldest leader as head of state, Cameroon has an overwhelmingly young population where the median age is 18. Catholics represent around 29% of the population, with the country being a major source of growth and priestly vocations for the church. After the Mass, the Pope briefly visited the St. Paul Catholic Hospital, privately blessing the patients and medical staff before heading back to Yaoundé. He is set to travel to Angola over the weekend for the penultimate stop in his 4-country visit.
And next stop, Angola, where Pope Leo will be making the 3rd papal visit after John Paul II and Pope Benedict XVI. In a country where nearly 40% of the population is Catholic, the Pope's trip is expected to highlight both Angola's deep religious roots and the stark inequalities that persist despite all wealth.
From the bustling streets of Luanda to the historic pilgrimage site of Muxima Sanctuary, Angola is preparing for a landmark visit. President João Lourenço himself traveled to Muxima to inspect final preparations, highlighting the national significance of the Pope's arrival. Pope Leo XIV is the 3rd pontiff to visit this oil-rich nation after Pope John Paul II and Pope Benedict XVI. Catholicism runs deep here. Angola was among the earliest regions in Africa to embrace the faith. Today, Catholics make up around 40% of the population.
It is a privilege to welcome the Pope here in Angola for the 3rd time. He is very welcome in the country. We're going to give him a warm reception. We're genuinely delighted for the Pope's visit.
But beyond the celebrations, the visit also shines a light on Angola's contradictions. Despite rapid development fueled by oil wealth, many still live in poverty, one of the Pope's key concerns.
It is important for us that the Pope feels at ease, warmly welcomed by the whole world, by our Angola, and to bring us the joy that comes from 24 years of peace and 51 years of independence. The Church plays a very important role precisely in promoting peace and reconciliation, as well as freedom of conscience.
Over the centuries, through colonial rule, the struggle for independence, and a prolonged civil war that ended in 2002, the Catholic Church has become a powerful social force, running schools, hospitals, and shaping public debate, including through institutions like the Catholic University of Angola. Yet, the Church also faces new challenges, growing competition from evangelical movements, and a shortage of priests in a country where the majority is young. Angola stands at a crossroads between faith and modernity, wealth and inequality, hoping this historic moment will bring renewed hope and unity.
Now to Ethiopia, where concern is growing after the suspected abduction of journalist Million Beyene. Addis Standard's managing editor was taken from the magazine's newsroom by unidentified men on Wednesday morning. The Committee to Protect Journalists calls on Ethiopian authorities to do everything in their power to locate and free Million Beyene. Tom Kennedy has the details.
It's now been more than 48 hours since Million Beyene was kidnapped from the Addis Standard newsroom. CCTV footage showed masked men enter the building and escort him out, saying that he was needed for questioning, but his whereabouts remains unknown. Addis Standard has made efforts to try to locate him, but both the Addis Ababa police and the federal police both deny that he is in their custody. I've been in contact with the editor-in-chief of the Addis Standard, Jonas Kedia, and he was supposed to meet with me today for an interview about this, but on Thursday evening, Million Beyene's phone was briefly turned on at 10 p.m. and now the editor-in-chief of the publication has been drastically, along with Beyene's sister, trying to geolocate their colleague and friend. He was able to send me a voice note with an update today.
This situation is deeply distressing for his family, for our newsroom, and for all of us who know him as a dedicated journalist and colleague. To those holding him, I wanted to say this clearly. Million Beyene is a journalist. He is not a threat. We urge you to ensure his safety and to release him immediately and unconditionally.
This kidnapping comes amid a sweeping crackdown on media in Ethiopia, particularly ahead of the June elections. And Addis Standard is one of the last remaining independent media outlets in Ethiopia.
Sudan has entered its fourth year of devastating conflict. The war, which erupted in April 2023, has divided the country between the Sudanese military and the paramilitary rapid support forces. Jenin Chadid describes how the fighting left millions displaced and created the world's largest humanitarian crisis.
In Port Sudan, displaced families are struggling to survive. Amid food shortages and severe conditions, humanitarian aid has been a lifeline for those who fled the violence. But with thousands of children suffering from malnutrition, resources are stretched thin.
My husband was killed in an airstrike in Baba Nosa, but thanks be to God. We need many things for the children. We need food and we need a tent. Conditions are very difficult, but still, thanks be to God.
Hussein Sharif was one of the many caught in the crossfire between the military and the rapid support forces. His injury symbolizes the broader toll the war has taken on Sudanese civilians.
I was in Omdurman and was shot by a sniper from the rapid support forces. He was in a building, shooting and killing people. I was hit by a bullet and fell to the ground. I was shot at the right side, which caused me hemiplegia. I came to Port Sudan to receive treatment, and there was a man who directed me to seek treatment in Cairo.
3 years of war have torn Sudan apart, with no end in sight. As the country remains divided between military and paramilitary factions, Millions of displaced hope for peace and the chance to rebuild their lives.
Literature takes center stage in the French capital as Paris hosts the 5th edition of its book festival, bringing together publishing heavyweights, star authors, and eager readers. Among the standout voices, Cameroonian writer Djaïli Amadou Amal, propelled to international acclaim with her award-winning novel, The Impatient. Our young correspondent, Awa Diouf, met the author in Paris, and she was given this advice.
Aller à l'école. Le premier mari de la femme, c'est son diplôme. La vraie vie, c'est...
Go to school. A woman's first husband is her degree. Real life is going to school, have diplomas, get some training, try to gain good experiences, to be well surrounded, to work and work again and again, to succeed and reach the end of your dreams. So it's not just about saying, all I need to do is dance on TikTok to become a star. That's not real life. So that's my message, actually. It's a message from a mother, and it might also be a message from a woman of my age. The women who inspire me every day are those who fight every day. It's the woman who sells tomatoes on the market and, thanks to her small business, still manages to send her children to school. It's the woman who makes fritters and hold the whole family together through that. It's those women who fight every day and who don't let themselves be knocked down by difficulties. These are the women who inspire me every day. That's what I want to focus on. I want to help women become independent, to realize the strengths they have, the importance they have, and above all, to tell girls to continue their studies, to earn diplomas, to be independent, because if you don't earn money, in reality, in Africa, you don't have a voice.
And that's it for this edition of Eye on Africa. Thank you for watching.